Okay, we are live now. Is everyone able to see the screen,
Yes.
the synopsis? Perfect. Summer, would you be able to just take us through the synopsis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Should I start?
Yeah, please start.
In each of the thinking instruments of the individual are implanted super micro transmitting monitors. These monitors are able to transmit every modification of the thinking principle, even the most insignificant. But that not being the purpose, only such very important motives, thoughts, and actions that an individual harbors with calculated, premeditated thought or motive that would harm someone else and harm greatly, and also the characteristics thus developed by each individual are transmitted to and registered in the super micro recording monitors pulsating in the causal body.
This is from Mr. Tavaria.
Yes, sir. Everything is from the book, and I've mentioned the page numbers also above. From what page number I've taken.
It is not your synopsis.
No, I've collected it from the different places where he has mentioned about this redemption, and now it is giving a total holistic approach to that, no? Not like one paragraph is mentioned somewhere and the other detail is mentioned somewhere else. So I've tried to collect it.
Very good, very nice. I was just in our daily living. In our daily living, how will we? You see, we cannot see motive. How will we, over a period of time, become aware of motive? Can you read this again, this paragraph?
Yes. In each of the thinking instruments of the individual are implanted super micro transmitting monitors. These monitors are able to transmit every modification of the thinking principle.
I hope thinking principle is clear with everyone, what the meaning of thinking principle. Thinking principle is incoming impulse plus identical memory pattern. Right? That is the thinking principle. Right.
Even the most insignificant, but that not being the purpose, only such very important motives, thoughts, and actions that an individual harbors with calculated, premeditated thought or motive that would harm someone else and harm greatly.
Yes. Yes. How will we monitor motive? Motive ne Gujarati માં શું કહેવાય? હેતુ. Irado. How will you monitor motive? You see, it's something very, even in the deepest self-observation, people cannot see motive. Right? In my life, I have met so many enlightened people, but those who were able to see motive, there are very few. You can count them on the fingers. Right? So, how do we monitor and see motive?
Sir, when we do self-observation and suppose we stop over, of course, we have done certain thing and we think back. What was it that was the motive of my this kind of reaction? So ego and the aspects of ego, they come out.
So whatever motive we, supposing I act badly with you, right? And I then observe it and I come to what is the motive behind this? But have I been able to see the real motive, or does it require still a different level? If I reach a different level of awareness, will I be able to see a even deeper motive?
We have to be
Intention.
watchful for buffers here, or the defense system that comes out when I'm seeing the motive of anything.
How will you monitor motive? You monitor motive. Will you, is it through self-observation, or do we have to observe uh, something else in our life?
What is our intention?
Yeah, intention is motive.
The patterns we were discussing last time, that it is about noticing the patterns of responding to certain series of impulses that come to you in forms of thoughts and experiences.
Through my personal, what do you call, study, is through all these years of self-observation, is that to understand motive, you have to observe the events which come to meet you in life. Can you get what I'm trying to say? Now, you see one common, what do you call, piece of conversation is कि भाई, I have not, what do you call, thought badly of anyone, but still this pain came to meet me in my life. In Gujarati, it is said better that મેં કોઈનું ખરાબ શું કહેવાય વિચાર્યું નથી, પણ મારા જીવનમાં આ રોગ મને કેમ મળવા આવ્યો? I don't know if I can explain this. I don't know. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
But the very fact that this came to meet you means it can only come if the motive is there to invite it. That means we are not able to observe motive. Supposing I say, okay, why did this event happen in my life? Right? I am totally responsible for the event. The event cannot happen without my invitation. Right? So that this event has come to meet me, it is my responsibility. Nobody else's responsibility. Right? Now I have to see where lies motive. Where lies motive? Right? And that motive is lying very, very deep within me. And it is very difficult to see motive. Very, very difficult to see motive. So this micro recording monitor is each moment, why does it keep changing? And it records some and it does not record others. And that will depend on what you call, where the motive changes, where the motive is very deep, where the motive is, I mean, we are holding so much of energy of revenge that there is only one motive in everything we do, and that is to take revenge. So, motive is something which we don't do, we cannot reach through self-observation. We have to observe the events of our lives. And if something has come to meet us in our life, then it is only because, and it has brought a lot of pain and what do you call suffering, then we have to understand one thing, that it is our motive that has invited this. Right? I mean, I don't know whether you're getting the exact whole circle of the event. I mean, are you getting the circle of the circular what do you call?
Pathways of the event.
The circular pathway, you can say, yeah. The circular path.
Sir, is it here he's talking about the motive that we have in our everyday activity or reactions that we give, or it's the larger thing that what you explained, right?
Yeah, but that larger thing boils down to this. Right? Supposing we are having tea, right? Now, you may want to show your new cup, right? So we have tea in a very beautiful cups, right? Both of us, right? And in that moment, I say, okay, she's showing off her cup. I don't tell it to you, right? Now, in that moment, why is it that I cannot appreciate the beauty of your cup? And mechanically, from inside, it comes that she's showing off her cup. I don't know. Am I coming across in this? Right?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm observing myself doing. I can see these different eyes operating within me, right? And I'm asking myself the question: why this eye came, right, to turn the whole situation negative, and why didn't an eye come and approve? What a beautiful cup! I'm enjoying the tea in this cup, right? So this is a small event, but deep down is motive. Motive. Now we have to see a circular pathway in this, right? That in this, I may not have said it on your face. On your face, I may have said, "What a beautiful cup," or whatever, right? But I have definitely sown a seed of what do you call dvesh in rag dvesh? What do you call dvesh? I have sown a seed of dvesh, right? And that is going to add to my energy of revenge inside. So it will change the motive. Can you see? The motive behind everything will change, right? Now, if I see the events in my life are suddenly taking a drastic change, the quality of the events which are coming in my life to meet me, then one thing I have to realize that I have worked somewhere upon my motive. Motive. Can you get it? Yeah.
Next sentence, the motive create a karma. The intensity of motive create the intensity of karma.
Right. So he said that there's a sentence of Mr. Tavaria. Motive creates karma and intensity of motive creates intensity of karma. So something in my life which for years has been with me, which I've been complaining about, which has given me a lot of pain, etc., etc. Motive creates karma and intensity of motive creates. So I have to see my motive inside and the intensity of that motive which has invited this.
Rajiv, when you speak of revenge, how do we break those knots with people? If because you see that you want to take revenge.
First of all, we have to understand that there is no breaking of knots, there is observation of knots. Right? The minute you go to break the knots, it is a new kind of violence. So don't break the knots. Over a long period, all the knots are darkness, and a long period of observation is light, and light gets rid of darkness automatically. So the process is of a long period of observation. Now, the minute you have judged the knots that this knot is bad and this knot is good and this fellow is disturbing me and this fellow is not disturbing me, then you're identified, then you're not observing. Observation means non-judgmental observation, right? If there is any complaining, then we are not observing. Then the minute we complain, we are gone. And some people, their deepest motive is to complain about everything. You see, the motive in just that example of the cup, the motive does not allow me to see the good in life. It only allows me to see the, what do you call, what is missing in life, the bad in life. Can you see? Yeah, sorry, please go through this. Yeah.
So even in the case of complaining, could the motive also be that we are only able to see the bad in life?
Yeah.
Sorry, repeat that, Kedar.
Uh, oh no, so Rajan Bhai had just mentioned the point that in the example that he took of not being able to appreciate the cup, but instead thinking, oh, that person is showing off his or her new cup. Uh, the deeper motive could be that we are not able to enjoy the good things in life. We're only able to see bad things in life.
I think there's a question on Omkar.
Yeah, that doesn't decrease the knots intensity of the knots, Omkar.
Can you read the question, Keta?
Yes, this is a question from Sharmila. Pranam Gurudev. Does Omkar not dissolve these knots or decrease its intensity?
Um, yes, actually, I'm working on that sutra which says that Omkar gets rid of the, what do you call, intervals, the intermissions, the antarayas. Uh, but it's not that easy. I mean, you cannot take Omkar as that I'm doing Omkar so I don't have to do self-observation. That is a motive of laziness, right? So don't take it in that way. Omkar will, what do you call, uh, uh, will loosen the knots, and a lot of things will start coming to the surface. But in the end, there must be the witness over there, the observer over there who is observing, 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 right? And another thing is that what we came to the conclusion in the last camp, that it is not just Omkar, but rather than Omkar, the what do you call, the resonance which Omkar is created out of Omkar, created out of Omkar, which destroys the knots. Yeah. Okay.
So sorry, one quick question. Is there just one underlying motive, or are there, let's say, three, four, five motives?
There's only one underlying motive.
Okay.
What is that?
Ego, self-love?
No.
Is it different for
In
different?
the end,
Complaining.
huh? Sorry, what?
Wouldn't it be different for different people, the motive?
Yeah, but within different motive for everyone, there will be one undying motive, underlying motive like this person, not undying, underlying motive, right?
Desire.
नहीं समझा. Who's that?
It can be
Des-
desire.
Yes, but desire for happiness.
Hmm. Hmm.
Desire for happiness. So somebody is full of revenge and he's even murdering somebody in that revenge, right? But in that murdering somebody, there is that desire that by murdering this person, I'm going to get some form of happiness. Am I able to come across? So this whole cosmos is trying to move from a state of non-happiness to happiness, to a state of, from lower state of consciousness to a higher state of consciousness. And that is the basic movement of the cosmos. And so in every action which we do, there is this desire for, we must gain some happiness out of it. So even if you've switched on the, what do you call, and you're attending this reading, but deep down there is, I want happiness, some happiness out of this. You definitely don't want to get out of the reading a sad person, right? Then it will transform into many individual, what do you call, motives. But the basic motive in the whole universe is that everybody, every small cell to the largest galaxy is searching for a higher state of happiness.
So an example of this could be that, let's say, new knowledge or new understanding gives me happiness. Like this
New
reading.
understanding and new knowledge changes my, what do you call, the way I look at happiness.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Right? So, I mean, a person murdering somebody, he may be murdering that person for happiness, but that is definitely not right happiness. Can you get it?
Yes, yes.
But he has that concept of happiness. Now, if he rises as a consciousness, then his what you call definition of happiness will change.
Correct. So it's a mirror of what is not making you happy is an intention of wanting to be happy, but then in the process of
These are the obstacles to happiness.
yeah.
These are the obstacles to happiness. What Patanjali, these are the obstacles to soul cognition. Right?
And
And
how
then
is
that
the
is then the purpose of evolution because you are evolving when you are overcoming those obstacles.
Yes, then your whole outlook changes, no? Your whole outlook changes.
and how will motive be related to the chief feature or chief weakness?
See, I'm not very, what do you call, uh, in tune with Gurdjieff on this chief feature thing,
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
you know. And a lot of these Gurdjieff groups, they work in what is your chief feature and all. My personal understanding of the chief feature, it is more like a matrix.
Hmm, hmm,
It is composed of many small features,
hmm.
and it is a very powerful electrical circuit which makes me what you call act in a certain way and has a part or a partnership in every action of mine, every thought of mine, every feeling of mine. And that is a deeply inlaid mechanical matrix which is formed over thousands of years. Right. And so it may have many features, and when we in our self-observation, we may come to a state where we see one of the features, but that is only one feature. We've not been able to see the whole matrix. And the whole matrix is what do you call electrical in nature. It is not
Molecule in nature.
just molecular in nature. It is electrical in nature. And in that sense, we have to go back to Mr. Gold, right? Because he explains the electrical nature of the body-brain system.
And that matrix doesn't allow us to be more aware.
But he has hidden it so much in his teachings that it requires somebody to be able to extract it. No, even when I was sitting there, and there were people explaining what you call, none of them knew about what they were talking about. Right. So he's hidden it so well that it's it requires great inner understanding and depth to be able to extract what he's. But it is electrical in nature, the matrix, no doubt about it. And that the whole matrix is the chief feature, which has many, uh,
Features.
attributes. And those attributes if you see one of them, you'll think you've seen your chief feature. And that is the problem in all these Gurdjieff groups where they talk about each other's chief feature, right?
Thank you.
And also the characteristics thus developed by each individual are transmitted to and registered in the super micro recording monitors pulsating in the causal body.
The characteristics. Now, this is something very important, that the same motive may give rise to one set of characteristics in a certain situation, and the same motive may give rise to another set of characteristics in another situation. Are you able to get this?
And by characteristics, do you mean the action or the thought or the response of an
Yes,
individual?
the whole how we act out that motive.
your development or education.
Now, supposing there is somebody I can bully, we want to go ahead or do we want to discuss all this? I don't know.
We want to discuss.
So we want to discuss.
Now I have the same motive, my same motive is greed, right? I say I have a motive of greed, right? Now, all of us have seen greed operating different in different situations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Supposing there's somebody I can bully, supposing my wife, of course, there's no way I can bully my wife. She's bullied me for 25, 30 years. So, but suppose I can, let's imagine that, right? So I want to extract, say, 100 rupees from her. Then, I will use a very high tone or this thing and what do you call, and I'll bully her into giving me 100 rupees, right? And supposing a very generous friend comes and I say, if this guy is happy, he will give me 100 rupees, right? So then the same motive will work in a different way with this friend. So the micro recording monitor is recording the characteristics developed in each case, and in each case the motive may be the same, but the characteristics which come out of it would be different. Bolo.
Yeah. It could also manifest as, for example, cunningness, right? If me and someone else are competing for the
Cunningness,
same
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the whole matrix will operate, no? So if that friend comes to meet me, I'll be like a, young puppy, talking to him. So the light of cunningness on the matrix will go on off, because it's an electrical circuit. The red light of cunningness would go on off or something, start flashing or something of that sort.
Rajen Vakil, can we say these motives are mechanical by and large?
They are mechanical pathways along which impulses travel. What Gurdjieff calls as, what does he call them?
Association.
Associations. He calls them as association.
Okay.
Should I read?
Yeah.
This may total to say 5% of total wrong thinking. Hence, karma, if applicable, is applicable to the 5% only. It follows that the three super micro recording monitors
taken from somewhere
are
else.
Yes, compared.
Yes, you have, because this 5% is of those people who have reached a certain state of consciousness. No.
In one lifespan, the 5%.
These two paragraphs are from the same page and it is in continuation only.
Achha.
Yeah. This may total to say 5% of the total wrong thinking. Hence, karma, if applicable, is applicable to this 5% only.
Mm-hmm.
It follows.
Yeah.
It follows
So
that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying the context, Rajan bhai, here might be that, let's say, we've had, let's say, 100 wrong thoughts in our life. But let's say 5 of these wrong thoughts are thoughts that have had the highest intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the context in which you were explaining it, that only 5% of this total wrong thinking will be recorded by these monitors.
Okay, we'll go on. Yeah.
It follows that the three super micro recording monitors are the permanent link of each individual and form the entire memory records of the individual. from which an exact and complete duplicate encoded microform of all our past lives in their entirety, what we call memory patterns, is issued to each individual who is about to be born.
Hmm.
Based on this, circumstances and events cross the individual's path, and based on certain cycles come as events, a very complicated reckoning takes place.
So they come as events in our life, or cycle of events in our life. Yeah.
In the child to be born, all potential and possible progress through free will operative is allowed for. Also, if certain defects or traits of the damaging thoughts, motives, and acts are noted, as per the recordings, provision is also made for them. This we unfortunately call destiny or karma, rather than the events that give us the opportunity to redeem.
Hmm.
Such events amount to about 5% or a little more only of our lives. The remaining huge majority is free will operative.
Okay. Now this is becoming little clear what 5% is talking about.
In one life.
In one life, yeah. It is becoming little clear. Right? Can we read this again, these two paragraphs?
Two paragraphs, right?
Huh.
This may
Yeah.
this may total to say 5% of the total wrong thinking. Hence, karma, if applicable, is applicable to this 5% only. It
Okay, so
follows.
now let's just put it this way. He has divided the actions of our lives into two parts. One in which free will is operating, and one in which there is no free will operating, which he calls as karma. Right? And that karma is only 5% of the wrong thinking. That karma. Right? But that karma we have to take as an opportunity for redemption. That karma has to be taken as an opportunity for redemption. The rest of the karma in our life is free. That is free will. Right? So if I'm wearing my shoes, it is not karma, it is free will. You understand? If I'm feeling cold at night and I take a bed sheet and cover myself, it is not karma, it is free will. Right? Today I want to eat idli dosa, it is not karma, it is free will. Right? Today I want to wear a white shirt, black shirt, it is not karma, it is free will. So he says only 5% is karma, 95% is free will, but we can't see that. We are stuck with this 5% of karma. And that 5% of karma has to be seen in the sense of redemption. That where we have moved from Nadir to that 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And we have to redeem all our negative emotions over there. So this 5% of karma has come as what has come to us is what do you call? The negative emotions, it is there for redemption. It is an opportunity to redeem. This is very powerful stuff, what he's saying. Very powerful.
In the form of challenges or some.
It is the form of the events of our
events
life.
of our
The
life,
form of the events of our life.
which we have to overcome
Right.
or somehow to give us the.
सब कुछ नियोजित है, फिर भी उसका आयोजन करना पड़ता है.
Can we identify this with the intensity with which we are doing or imagining or acting upon?
Means?
Like this, see, out of 100 acts that we do, 5% is creating karma, as I understand.
Yeah.
Right. So that to identify these 5%, can we use the intensity as a yardstick or tool?
Yeah, there is karma and there is intensity of karma.
Okay.
There is intensity of karma. Right? This
Right.
karma brought so much of suffering, but this brought so much of suffering. Right?
Right.
So
Right.
there's intensity of karma. But in both the cases, the idea is redemption. to rise above the karma. What in Gurdjieff we call is moving from the line of law of accident to the law of fate.
Right.
The karma is happening in the law of accident. And if we redeem the karma, we move to the law of fate.
Right.
So, sir, then motive and this 5% is also, they are both correlated.
Pardon?
So, motive and the 5%.
Yes, they are
They
correlated.
are also correlated.
Correlated, definitely, definitely. If I change my slippers today, what motive am I going to find out in that? No. Yeah. Very complicated reckoning takes place. That either he, what do you call, rises above through redemption, or he goes deeper into the law of accident by mechanical reaction. A very complicated reckoning takes place. Very powerful stuff, this one.
Could I read this paragraph again?
Yeah.
Okay. It follows that the three super micro recording monitors are the permanent link of each individual and form the entire memory records of the individual, from which an exact and complete duplicate encoded microform of all our past lives in their entirety, which we call memory patterns, is issued to each individual who is about to be born.
You know, if you take this in another way, it gives our free will, what do you call, a kind of loosening, do what you want. You get it? That, see, if I have 100 bad thoughts, if only 5% are going to become karma, then what is wrong in having bad thoughts? What?
But what is having the bad thought is not a motive.
But the thing is that 5% is also so overwhelming. That 5% is so overwhelming, right? Yeah.
Based on this, circumstances and events cross the individual's path, and based on certain cycles come as events.
Right.
A very complicated reckoning takes place.
Please. Yes. Very complicated reckoning. Are you going to redeem yourself, or what are you going to do?
In the child to be born, all potential and possible progress through free will operative is allowed for. Also, if certain defects or traits of the damaging thoughts, motives, and acts are noted, as per the recordings, provision is also made for them. This we unfortunately call destiny or karma, rather than the events that give us the opportunity to redeem.
Redeem. In a child, the karma is not so, what do you call, powerful, apparent. He is given more free will and he can redeem himself.
Such events amount to about 5% or a little more only of our lives. The remaining huge majority is free will operative.
Yes. Everything we do in life from morning to evening is all free will only, right?
These
have a question here. So there are these sort of two sentences, right? Or two principles. One principle is this, that let's say majority is free will, only 5% is karma, or these, let's say, these events. The second principle is that level of being attracts life, or in anything that I do, there is my chief feature or my matrix, right? It comes out from that. So for example, even choosing which
So you
slipper to wear,
take the matrix as this 5%.
but doesn't it impact everything that I do. So, for example, even choosing which slipper to wear might be okay, who am I going to meet? I want to impress that person, and that's why I'll wear these slippers.
It could be that, or somebody frightened me in my childhood, and he was wearing blue clothes, so I don't wear blue slippers.
Hmm.
But in the end, it is free will. The karma which brings karma is that which brings suffering. Huh? गाड़ी कौन
But
सा?
sir, in free will also there will be some kind of motive,
Yeah.
like what Ketav is saying. Why I want to do this? Why I want to wear this?
There will be some kind of motive, but here he's talking of that which has come from our negative thinking. He's talking about that which has come about through our negative thinking.
Should I read?
Yeah.
These events that come to us form 5% or a little more of our lives. Even then, their accumulation from Swaha's first substage to Bhu's last substage reaching Nadir ought to be a substantial amount. So, how soon can the redeeming of this immense mountainous load be done? Will its redeeming require at least as many bodies and that many thinking instruments? For instance, even a recording level of 5% of events in each life could mean a few thousand recordings of dangerous, damaging, premeditated acts, thoughts, and motives. So, a body and mind for redeeming each of these few thousands would be necessary.
Yeah. So here again we come to the thing that we need a body-brain system to redeem. Without a body-brain system, it is not possible to redeem. The second thing, Nishit, you asked a question about that 95%. In a way, that is free will, right? But I want to do it, but my mother-in-law does not allow me to do it. So I put on the box for 3-step rhythmic breathing, but my mother-in-law switches it off and throws it away. Then that is not just free will, it is plus karma.
Okay.
Right? But yes, the box is lying at my bedside and I say, I don't do it tomorrow. That is free will.
Yes.
You have to be able to notice what part of life is karma and what part of life is free will.
So are you saying that in spite of us, our desire to do something, if there are obstacles that come from life, obstacles that come from outside to stop us?
That is that 5% coming to meet us.
Got it.
That is that 5% coming. This is very deep stuff which he's talking about.
It is very complicated. You also mentioned it.
Yeah. It's very, very deep stuff he's talking about.
And we cannot understand it by the simple examples.
Right.
So, sir, by the time we have redeemed so-called the 5% of a life, some more also is accumulated by us. So it's
No.
I don't know how long the process is.
No, because at a certain state of awareness, you stop accumulating. Number one. The second thing, redemption follows I'll say initially it will follow a natural progression, then it follows a geometric progression, and then it follows a logarithmic progression. So I may be, uh, becoming conscious in a certain event of revenge, and that may be a natural formation. Again, I get conscious in a what do you call event of revenge. But then I get conscious in such a high intensity event of revenge that it is like a geometric progression, as if I've cleaned up another, out of that 5%, I must have cleaned up another 100 events.
We can take recently example.
Okay. Yeah. So, right? So, and then it will be logarithmic progression, right? Because this has been going on for lifetime since Swahalok, right? We may redeem just one event, but the whole on the logarithmic scale, right from Swaha onward, thousands of events could have been redeemed in that one event. Right?
Corrective reading માટેની છે આની સાથે જ કરેક્શન થાય ને ઓબ્ઝર્વેશન થી આ કરેક્શન દેખાય અને ઈ આ કરેક્શન થાય તો આ રિડીમ્શન
હા એ કરેક્ટ થાય તો જ redeem.
હા એટલે ઈ કરેક્ટિવ
Redemption.
Sir, is this the example that you have told us, like how at one point of the spiral you become aware and conscious, how the heat of consciousness?
Yes. So it's like this, that you're climbing the mountain, right? So you've climbed a little, then you're seeing there, but suddenly at the top of the mountain, you're seeing everything together. So as you redeem, you're climbing the mountain of consciousness. And at a certain point of consciousness, you can see the car is moving on the road, but you can see the future of the car because you're on top of the mountain. This needs a lot of hard work. Huh?
Yes.
I mean, we've scratched the surface only.
This could mean that we shall need every body and thinking instrument we ever had, and the return to the source would again take at least part of as many eternities. This is fairly the normal way. Surely there is a quicker method that earnest disciples follow. So the question remains, how shall we redeem body, mind, and senses? All the patterns of damage and degeneration are recorded. How long would an individual have to wait for the patterns to come in some sequence, following certain laws of cycles, with certain cycles being long and certain others being short? The patterns of yesterday may repeat, and the patterns of yesteryears may not repeat. But the important point is not what repeats when. Let the events come. It is our attitude towards them that will make the difference. Will
Yes.
you take these?
So initially there was an attitude of complaining. Initially there was an attitude of finding fault. And now there is an attitude of redemption. Okay, I have invited it. Let me redeem it. Yeah.
Will you take these events as karma and retribution, or will you welcome them as opportunities to redeem?
Redeem. That's it. That's it. Wow.
Wow, Samar. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what should we do? We are 10 minutes from
Oh, what
ending
happened?
time.
We
Should we
finished
continue?
we finished the chapter?
Synopsis.
Sure. Oh, we finished the
Very good
synopsis.
synopsis, huh? Some are really well. No, very
Thank
well
you.
collected.
Thank you, sir.
Really good synopsis.
There's a
Made a lot of-
question on.
Yeah, please.
So Milton Patel Friedman asks, do motives create habits like the motive to harm creates many harmful thoughts?
Yeah, I don't understand.
So he says that do motive create habits like the motive to harm creates many harmful thoughts?
Yeah. Repetition creates habit. You say something, I put you down. Somebody else says something, I put him down. Then for so many people, you see, it is a habit. They will immediately somebody comes to meet them, they'll put him down. Utari pade. Becomes a habit. Bolo.
Does anyone else have any questions?
So once you had mentioned when we were reading this previously in one of the PBD lectures, you said that though it is 5% of the karma and 95% is the free will, but we spend our entire life in that 5% karma only.
Yeah, we're always fighting with it. We are always fighting with it. Right?
Yes.
Morning to evening. We have to take it for redemption, no?
Free will is a matter of choice. Whether I am using the event in a.
That is all the real free will is only that.
Only that.
Whether I am, going into the law of accident or the law of fate. Fate. Whether I'm using the event for redemption or am I using the event to again go deeper into the sleep of life. So that is all the free will there is.
Does redemption ever end?
Hmm?
Redemption ends?
Yes, it ends. But not when we imagine it to end. It'll end in a few lifetimes.
Few lifetimes?
Yeah, about 200 lifetimes. You want to give up now.
Sorry, what?
Redemption is a joy. To be redeemed from one event in life, from one pattern in life, is you're bursting into freedom. Right? And that freedom is non-expressible. Right? So it is a joy, it is freedom, redemption. It is why do you want it to end?
As long as you're around, it's fine.
Oh. Shall we stop?
Yeah.
Please. Okay. Thanks a lot. We'll meet
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you.